श्री राम जय जय राम। 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 जय जय राम।
Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurureva Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Vyapiyat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Satu asmin parama prema rupa. This bhakti is of the nature of supreme love towards the Supreme. So param, love, supreme love directed towards the Supreme. By saying tu and by saying rupa, something which is not known to us is generally compared with something that we know. Love we all experience, we all know. But here an adjective is given, parama prema, to point out the intensity of love, and love towards whom? Asmin. Towards the very self, the very core, the essence, the Lord in our bosom. So love towards the Supreme is called as bhakti. Now when we say love towards the Supreme, you don't say, I love ice cream. Though we are nowadays using these expressions. I like ice cream. I love my friend. But the word devotion or bhakti is always for something larger, greater, higher. You don't say, I'm devoted to my dog. Though these expressions today are being used. I love chocolates. And nowadays really the thing is, they're not devoted to God, but they are devoted to dog. But the word bhakti does not mean that, I like my dog or I love my dog. But it is directed towards the higher. Devotion for the Lord, devotion for country, devotion for one's parents, teachers. There is where the word devotion or bhakti is used. So when love is directed towards the highest, the greatest, parama, supreme, that is called as bhakti, devotion. Now what is the slight difference? To understand the following sections very clearly, because Naraji will point out what is the essence of devotion. At the same time, we have to understand that in this world we have different expressions or different relationships, and in these different relationships we also have expression of love. As we said, Gurudev has said that there is no endeavor that human beings take up with such enthusiasm as the pursuit of love, and there is no project that fails so miserably also. So what is so painful in love? What is it that creates so much hatred, jealousy in love? So we have also to know what is not there in love. It seems to be contaminated by something. Pujya Gurudev in his book I Love You Letters has just extracted as though from NARADA BHAKTI Sutra a clear understanding to make us understand what is bhakti and what is asakti. The emotion of love being the same when love is directed to something which is smaller, something which is finite, something which is limited, it is called as asakti or attachment. And when that love is directed towards something greater, higher, nobler, vaster, infinite, is called as bhakti. So for the lower is asakti, attachment, or the word is used is sneha, that which sticks, clings, sneha. So sneha, asakti, lower form of love, prema bhakti, higher form of love. Now, what is the distinction? Very clearly, very quickly we'll explain to you. When I have to give a separate topic on love and relationships, you'll find in one of the CDs, I've really elaborated on it, and youngsters love this topic. First of all, what you fall into. What you fall into is sneha, or the lower form of love. What you rise into is called the higher form of love. That's very simple to understand. So when you say, no, I fell in love, that which makes you fall is the lower form of love. That which makes you rise, grow, transform, it's the higher form of love. Then, the lower form of love is what you call as attachment. It is love for one out of the many. And therefore in that you exclude others. Yeah? And you must have known also, I'm sure when you were youngsters, you went out with many friends and enjoyed with them. And then you happen to fall in love with one of them. Then you have noticed the two of them will go in some corner and sit, and everybody else is left out. Happens or not? Same way also, my family, and then others are excluded. Same way, as brothers, sisters, you belong to one family. When you get married, my family. So you start isolating yourself, excluding yourself. And therefore, this form of love only causes loneliness. In spite of having someone, you feel lonely. Because we keep excluding people from our love. But the higher form of love is love for that which is the many. Therefore, bhakti means when I love my country, I love every countryman. When I love my parents, I love all my siblings. When I love God, I love everyone. In love of that one, everyone else is loved, not excluded. I'll give you one very interesting example that when you also come here for camps, you all feel wonderful. Same way when I went first time for the camp in Siddhabadi, it was the Vivekachudamani Marathon Camp. It was for 55 days, 10 days camp with one day break. even that time, we thought, so long a camp, but 10 days to be with Gurudev in the Himalayas with such a Maharishi studying Vedanta at the foothills of the Himalayas. How amazing it is. So we decided to go. Generally, everybody gets very excited when the announcement is made. Then one by one, wicket falls down. So all the adults backed out. Now youngsters, nowadays, you have ashrams visible, etc. In the Himalayas, ashram, who's going to allow? Finally, I was alone there. And ashram was still being built. It was still small. The number of people also were very few. Few means 100, 200. For Gurudev was a very small number. So we were there. And even we thought that 10 days will be more than enough. 10 days of spirituality. Isn't everybody shocked that you've come here for 2 weeks? Even you shocked yourself, isn't it? So 10 days is enough. But all those of us who came for 10 days, then, and you see, ashram managers are all the same from the last 35 years. You say, can I extend? Sorry, there is no place. It's not their fault. But we had come all the way from abroad and we were youngsters and we were the only 2-3 youngsters. So, uncle. Best thing is, uncle. And we used to somehow or the other get extended 10 days, 20 days. And there are some people, of course, I'm old devotee of Gurudev. No, how can I not be there? I will sleep under the bed of Gurudev also, So somehow or the other, they also got somehow, they pushed bulldozed their way in. So few of us kept on extending. And after the end of the camp, when 55 days was over, nobody wanted to go back. Now everybody knows that Gurudev's itinerary was fixed 2 years in advance. Gurudev will not stay one more extra day. But that please let us extend the camp. Tell Gurudev to extend the camp. Nobody had guts to go and ask Gurudev. So Guruji was there. Everybody used to go to Guruji and say, will you tell Gurudev? And Guruji said, first of all, you all don't come here. And then after coming here, you all don't want to go. Actually, he wanted us to go because we all used to go and use his bathroom. We used to go and use his room. Because there was no shortage of bathroom, everything. It was like his room was, we wanted to keep anything secure, go and give it to him. Then we wanted 2 rupees to go and buy bananas. So, give us. I think he also must have been so fed up of us. Not only one or two of us, everybody used to go and, plonk themselves in his room. So he said, why don't you all go away? First of all, you all don't come, then you all don't want to go. So everybody said, but it's so nice here. He said, what's so nice here? And we were here. You got 2 people in the room with, air condition and even, heater in your room and, water heater and everything. We had none of these things. There were 7 of us packed on the ground, no bed, no bedding, no rugs, nothing. No mirror also. No hot water. And not that 7:30 was class, which is too early. 5:30 we had to be inside the meditation hall because you couldn't step inside if Gurudev would be inside. She said, and 7 of us, not of the same age. One is 75, other is 19. One comes late to the room, other is snoring away in the room. One wants to get up late, the other gets up at 3 o'clock in the morning and starts Om Sahasra Shirsha Purushaha. That's Vedic chanting, but you think that, Other goes to the bathroom and puts cold water and says, Om Namah Shivaya Shivaya. You think Pralaya is coming already, Such conditions. Why don't you all go back and... They said, no, but everybody is so loving here. And Guruji said, at home, brother can't stay with each other. Husband, wife are fighting with each other. Here you all are strangers. What is so loving about here? Why is everybody so loving here and why is it so nice here? We had no answer. So we just shrugged our shoulders and said, So we asked, now when we don't, and a question has been invoked, And as I said, as Guruji said, no, by Guru's grace only the question comes. In Nachiketa also. So we asked Guruji, yeah, but how is it strangers in such difficult conditions and yet all of us are loving each other? And because you love, there is so much joy around, so much sharing, peace. The only quarrels was especially, with the people fighting that was my seat, why did you go and sit there? That was the maximum quarrels. That also people overcame. So we said, yeah, how come it be that so many of us in such difficult situations, why is it that we love each other and there is so much joy, peace, cheerfulness? Because where there is love, all cheer, joy is there. We said, yeah, Guruji, tell us, how come? And then he pointed out something, that we all have come here loving that one who loves us all. And if we constantly remember that, there will be difference of opinions, there will be different difficulties, but we overcome all that in the love for the one who is the many. See the difference between bhakti and asakti, devotion and attachment. Then, attachment is based on likes and dislikes. You like something, that moment, you will say, I love. And that's why that very, very famous incident, some of you must have heard me speak about it. Gurudev also spoke about it. It was someone's 50th anniversary and Gurudev was invited. Normally 50th anniversary, if you come to the places where I come from, after 50 years also they want to become a bride. There's Mehndi, Sangeet. But here, they thought the Mahatma is coming to town after 50 years of wedding. What party again? They called Gurudev to the house. And this man was going on talking, but to cut the story short, it was very, very interesting conversation because you're old when you know dates, but you don't know where you've kept your specs. Anyway, he was going on talking about, and the result of it was to find out, you get to know that how they were completely two different personalities, and such opposites only attract. His wife and him were totally different personalities, and it's always like that. If the husband wants air conditioner even in the winter, she wants a heater even in summer. How they remain in marriage is a great wonder. He will love sweets, so she will love everything sour. Generally, it's like that. They're opposites. So Gurudev just said, these days, people can't stay in marriage for 50 days. You two seem to be such different personalities. Gurudev had no direct experience of marriage. Yeah, so sometimes you have to gather knowledge indirectly. What is that because of which you stayed in this marriage? He laughed and he had no answer to say. I guess she didn't leave him, that's all, because, he was in the marriage because she has not yet left him. So he didn't have an answer. But even though she was in the kitchen cooking, she was hearing every conversation that was happening. And she came to his rescue as usual. He had no answer. But wisdom comes naturally to women, men have to learn it from books. This is not my dialogue. This is a dialogue I had to say as a youngster in a play. It comes from Kalidas himself. And can't be wrong. He had no answer. But Gurudev said, what was that because of which you remained in this marriage, or you survived, this marriage survived? And she replied from behind the curtain, even then, so shy. She said, Swamiji, you like someone because of something, but you love someone in spite of everything. Yeah. One is based on likes and dislikes, and when those change, likes and dislikes keep on changing, it comes to an end, but not love. A simple distinction is, the lower form of love, there is an element of desire. There is a want. There is an element of desire in that lower form of love. But the higher form of love is a fulfillment. It has the element of giving, not of demanding. When you're ready to give, sacrifice, offer, that's the highest form of love. Where there is demands, likes, dislikes, want. In short, the lower form of love is selfish, and the higher form of love is self-inclusive. I will not say selfless, We say selfless, we don't like that word. It is self-inclusive. Khalil Gibran has said so beautifully about love, and Gurudev quotes it. Love gives not but itself. Love takes not but from itself. Love possesses not, nor would it be possessed, for love is sufficient unto love. And therefore, love is not a need or a desire. Love is a fulfillment. And therefore, love knows only to give, not to be a beggar. Therefore, Gurudev says in his I Love You letters, be a God-like giver, not a dog-like beggar. Though nowadays in this world, only dogs know how to give love. Yeah? But have you seen the dog? Dog, God, opposite. When you say lower form of love, or you fall into, it shatters, it binds, it creates agitations. But the higher form of love, it sets you free. There's not even clinging to the beloved. And therefore, in the higher form of love, there is no insecurity or fear. There can be pain and sorrow in love. In fact, those who do not know how to bear pain and sorrow, they are not fit for love. Therefore, Mirabai quoted yesterday, no? जो मैं ऐसा जानती कि प्रेम प्रीत की ये दुख होए नगर डंडोरा पीटती कि प्रीत न करियो कोई. Don't say, path of love is very easy. Yeah? Those who do not know how to bear pain, but that pain is different. We'll hear about that. Love cannot bear the suffering of the beloved. In love, pain can be there. But bliss is beyond such joy or excitement or suffering. But one thing in love cannot be there, and that is insecurity or fear. In the lower form of love, when you are bound to something limited, finite, naturally there's going to be insecurity. There's an element of desire, there will always be fear. And this is a real story, I'm not joking. And in many different ways I've heard from others. You might think it's a joke, but everything is not a joke. In fact, life itself is a joke sometimes. After I had completed my Vedanta course here at Sandipni, by the time I went back, most of the people I knew had already got married. I would look at them and I would say, Acha, you're married? So how do you know? Do they make you clairvoyant, in the ashram? No, it was quite visible that all those, handsome guys, by now, after 40, it's our Indian heritage. You can't avoid it. But in your late 20s, to have a belly without going to Delhi, I could clearly say. Then this person who I know was so self-conscious of his look that whenever you had to take a photograph, no, he would go, bring out his chest, tucking in his stomach. But now he was literally blown up like a balloon. He was blown up like a balloon. And I went to the house. I knew the girl also. Now she's married. We all knew each other. Went to the house. Naturally, I had gone to the house. And when any Swami comes to Bhiksha, people do try to create a big feast. They'll create a big feast. You can eat only as much as you can eat. But here I saw the feast was not for me, it was for him. And everything from pakoras, samosas. And plus, of course, when I was there, she couldn't give him any other drink. But Coca-Cola she kept on giving him and forcing him to take. Finally, I told her, I said, what are you feeding him? See what you made of him. She said, I like him this way. No, I don't know this type of love, that there's more to love or whatever it may be. I generally am quite, careful with my words. I don't just blurt out something. But I said, you like this rubber tire? This balloon you like? I mean, I don't understand what women want, but come on, This balloon tire you like? And what she told me, be aware. She says, yes, I like him this way. Now no girl will fall for him. In the Puranas, the famous story of Satyabhama and Rukmani is there. Rukmani has such confidence of her love that even Narad Muni goes there and teases her, are you sure Krishna has gone to work? She just laughs and she says, don't you know that he's got so many wives plus the gopis, And she says, doesn't matter, where else will he go? He'll come back to me only. While Satyabhama, she wants constantly to have Krishna only for herself. Then finally she loses it. That's when the Tulabharam took place. But anyway, that's a long story itself, but very interesting to show the lower and higher form of love. In the lower form of love, that which comes to an end was never love. Because when there is no more gain, the attachment comes to an end. There is no mutual gain, it comes to an end. But the higher form of love is that which constantly goes on increasing. It never comes to an end. It always remains fresh and new. All this Naradji will be explaining, but then in those deep explanations sometimes we miss. So clear understanding why it is said tu. Sa tu asmin parama prema rupa. One is to point out the intensity, parama. Not only towards the supreme, but it is parama. It is supreme love. So what is the measure of love? See, in different relationships also we have love. You have love for your friends. You have love for your colleagues also. But is it the same intensity of love that you have for your colleagues and friends that you have for your parents and your children? Yeah. And then what will be the intensity of love when it is towards the Supreme Lord who is the self of everyone? So what is the measure of love? Gurudev points out very beautifully that unconditioned, param means unconditioned love, that even when there is an occasion to break, it never breaks. It never ends. That supreme love is called as Param love. Now, how do you measure that love? It depends on the identification, how much we identify. Not how much we get and that's why we cling. How much oneness a person feels with each other. How much you identify with it. That is called as the measure of love. You identify with being a Gujarati, a Telugu more than identifying with the nation. Towards that will be more love. So identification with the beloved. And how much are we ready to sacrifice? How much are we ready to give? One very interesting incident had happened in this ashram only, and since it happened in this ashram, we always go to Siddhbadi and Uttarkashi. We get one trip outside. Some batches are lucky, they got three trips. We got only one trip outside. And it had happened in the ashram that one of these trips, brahmacharis had gone for a trip with Gurudev, and we used to be, Indian Railway those days, tickets not available, so an extra bogie was attached. So all the brahmacharis, the managers went all packed in that one bogie of the train. And whenever, can you imagine, long journeys, 3 days journey, packed in one compartment after you've come from a packed ashram, where you don't even step out. So no sooner station comes, the brahmacharis used to jump out. And especially seeing brahmacharis, people would also offer them tea and all that. And the best spiritual books for browsing are available on the station. Not anymore, but after one station, suddenly we find one brahmachari missing. We knocked at every toilet door, went throughout the train up and down, we can't find the brahmachari. Then we realized either, and brahmacharis had this habit also of standing. So, maybe lost, maybe fell off, or dropped at a station. We couldn't find out. For 3 days we didn't know. Finally the brahmachari comes. And everybody said, what happened? He said, I got down at the station, the tea was so hot, I was trying to gulp down the tea and the train left. Now without ticket, because all the tickets were with the manager. The ticket collector caught him and took him to the station manager. The station manager was so angry, probably he was having a fight over the phone with someone, and he said, my station, without ticket, and was hitting him, and then talking on the phone, hitting him. Yeah. I'll put you to jail. They tries to call up the police station. The police station, nobody picks up, So gives him another 2 bang, And finally he says, police is not picking up. He's getting angry with him. I'll list you down. Tell me, what is your name? And he said, my name is Narayan Rao. You are Rao. I am also Rao. Now, when 2 Telugu meet each other, 2 Malayalis meet each other, 2 Gujaratis meet each other, you know what happens? No? Suddenly they started speaking in Telugu. The result of that was, they took him home. Somewhere in North India, 2 Telugus meeting, Took him home, fed him, bought him the ticket of the next train, packed him some nice spicy pickled rice, and sent him. What happened? Where there is identification, there is love. The intensity of identification, the more intense is your love. And how much are you ready to sacrifice? How much are you ready to give? There are some people who, however sick they may be, but will not go to a doctor because of their love for money. And you know how much people have got love for money, no? I can tell many stories of that, but I think recently you have experienced it directly. What are we ready to give? Because you can give something without love, but you can never love without giving. What are you ready to give? The highest giving is that I give myself only. In Hanuman Chalisa, this portion comes, Lai sanjeevan lakhan jiyaye, Shri Raghuveer harashi ur laye. रघुपति कीनी बहुत बढ़ाई, तुम मम प्रिय भरती संभाय, सहस वदन तुमरो जस गावे, अस कई श्रीपति कंठ लगावे. Ramchandra is again and again hugging Hanumanji. Hanumanji is gone and brought Sanjeevani and brought Lakshman to life. Ramchandra feels so much love towards Hanumanji for having performed such a feat that he does. And love means you want to give something. And Bhagavan says, what can I give him? He's brought my very prana, my very life, Lakshman, back to me. What can I give him? Bhagavan thinks, I'll give myself only to him. Yeah? The highest form of identification is, there is no me other than my beloved. And the highest form of giving is when I give myself only up. Ego only is given up. That is the highest form of love. That is called as Parama Prema. And when that identification takes place, that unquestioned Rupacha
Amrita Swaroopacha
Amrita Swaroopacha, it is of the nature of Amrita. Mrita means to perish, die. Amrita means immortal. Love is of the very essence of immortality, of the nature of immortality. One simple meaning is, as we have said, love is that which can never come to an end. And when there is total identification with the Supreme, Supreme is what? That which is timeless, that which is all-pervading, endless, infinite, and therefore Amrita Swarupa. In fact, commentators try to point out that what was pointed out as the Rupa is Parama Prema. The form is supreme love. But what is the very essence of bhakti? It is Amrita Swarupa. It's the very nature of the Lord Himself who is Amrita. Amrita also means nectar and therefore bliss. And what is the nature of the Lord? Sat, Chit, Ananda. Sat means eternal existence, Amrita. Ananda means bliss, not condition, not limited, not ending joys, but continuous, everlasting, complete happiness. Ananda is bliss. And when I said it's Amrita Swarupa, it means its very nature is bliss itself. And if bhakti means total identification with the Lord, then Lord is Amrita. And total identification, which means there is only eternal bliss, nothing else. Now, if you want to go into the depth of understanding what is bhakti, we feel this emotional outpouring of love. But Gurudev says identification with the beloved. That oneness with the Supreme is called as Bhakti, and that Supreme is Amrita. Bhakti is Amrita. Now people have tried to understand what is Bhakti, and don't try to understand it also. It's not that easy to understand. Because Bhakti is that which the Lord Himself enjoys, revels in. And it is said, Bhakti Vashat Purushaha, that the Supreme Lord is under the Vasha, under the power of Bhakti. So what is this Bhakti? It is said it is of the very nature of the Lord Himself. It is the very Ananda Swarupa of the Lord Himself that is called as Bhakti. Now you say, Bhakti is when your mind is pure, and when there are pure thoughts, there is Bhakti. So you might think that, when there is Sattva Guna Vritti, when there is these thoughts of Sattva Gun, then Bhakti is there. No doubt when there is purity, the love is purified and the love for many or higher starts manifesting. But all our thoughts are in nature, Prakriti. You mean to say the Lord of nature will come under the influence of Prakriti or thought, or can be captured by thoughts or certain emotions? In the highest sense we are saying, if you don't understand, don't worry about it. So is it Sattva Gun Vritti? And all Prakriti is in Maya, and Maya is only illusion or falsehood, then love will also become false only. And can the real come under the influence of the false? You cannot say it is Maya Vritti also. You say, no, Bhakti is the Shakti of the Lord. And they say also, Bhakti ko Shakti do. Bhakti doesn't require any Shakti. Yeah. You will think that the Shaktiman, the Lord who has the power, is under the influence of His power. That also you cannot say. If you say Bhakti is the love of the devotee towards the Lord, is it his or her self-effort? Our self-effort, yesterday only you heard in Mundaka Upanishad. And you see how much similarity it is, not like it is different. Any effort of ours is only finite and limited. And finite and limited effort cannot give you the supreme. It can best be said that love or bhakti is the very essence, Ananda Swarupa of the Lord. And when that bliss of the Lord manifests in the bosom of the devotee, it expresses itself as devotion. That's why in the Bhagavatam it is said that on that Sharad Purnima night, when Bhagwan expresses his bliss, he did not call anybody, he didn't know. He was just expressing his bliss. And that bliss flowed through his flute, entered the ears of the gopi. And when it entered into their hearts, that became devotion. This is very subtle understanding of it. And therefore when it says Amrita Swarupacha, and now next is going to say what happens to a devotee who has devotion. Yeah. Amrito Bhavati becomes Amrita, himself becomes one with the eternal, becomes immortal, becomes bliss. And therefore it is said, Bhagati Bhagat, Bhagavant Guru, Chatur Naam Vapu Ek. There may be 4 names: Bhagat, devotee; bhakti, devotion. And what is bhagat without devotion? Bhagavant, Lord, and Guru. There may be 4 different names, but it means one and the same. Because the devotee has got no other ego, separateness, or existence beyond the beloved. And that supreme love, bhakti, where the lover and the beloved become one. The devotee and the Lord, who is eternal bliss, become one. That supreme love is called as bhakti. Another beautiful, this is the highest meaning. Another beautiful meaning is also that bhakti is from starting to ending Amrita only. It is blissful all the way through only. See, the moment love rises in your bosom, there's something about love that from that moment you start enjoying it, is it not? See, in all other sadhanas, later on also it will be said, all other sadhanas, you have to struggle and the end is bliss. But the path of bhakti is what? From starting to ending, it is Bhagwan my only, and Bhagwan is Anand my only. So therefore, from starting to ending, it is blissful only. When you love also, it is blissful. In middle also it's blissful, and the ending also, there's no disappointment. It is blissful only. Chalo, have you ever been on, a romantic, I can't call it date. Doesn't sound, that's not romantic at all. In olden times, you hear story of Sohini Mehwal. These lovely stories, He Ranjha, Laila Majnu. And it is always as though, the lover and the beloved are separated by an ocean or a river. And you have to swim across to get into the embrace of your beloved. There's danger on the way. You can drown. Or you can take a boat and you can go across. But how wonderful it is that the beloved himself brings the boat to pick you up and take you to the other shore. And really speaking is, when the beloved himself is in the boat, who wants to reach the other shore? The moment bhakti comes to your heart, the Lord is already in your heart. Where do we have to reach after that? Therefore, Amrita Swaroop. At the same time, Amrita Swaroop, this love ever remains immortal. That which comes to an end was never bhakti. Bhakti cannot come to end. Therefore, Guruji used to say, Bhakti, bhakti nahi hai. Now, having gained such supreme love, called as bhakti, which is of the essence of bliss, which is unending and eternal, what happens or what happens to such a devotee when bhakti manifests? And therefore now bhakti is pointed out in the form of what is gained with this bhakti. Because really speaking, at this moment, we all say we got bhakti, but we always wonder, what are we going to gain with this bhakti? Just Bhagwan. I mean, are we going to get some success? Are we going to get some more wealth? What is gained? Because for us to get motivated at this moment, whatever it is, we have to know what is the final gain. Also, we have to come to know When that supreme devotion has arisen in our bosom, what do we experience? What do we gain from that? Some lakshanas should be pointed out. No? And therefore says,
Yallabdhva puman siddho bhavati
Yallabdhva puman siddho bhavati
amrito bhavati tripto bhavati
Amrito bhavati tripto bhavati
Yallabdhva puman siddho bhavati
Yallabdhva puman siddho bhavati
amrito bhavati tripto bhavati
Amrito bhavati tripto bhavati Labdhva puman siddho bhavati. Having found, and having found. Found how? It has to be found. Found in your bosom, or walking through life, come across a devotee, a Mahatma, and you find bhakti. So, Yallabdhva puman siddho bhavati. Person becomes siddha. Now, siddha, the word means attains his or her goal. So, in a way, becomes successful. And even literally, to have success in any field in life, today they use the word like, you should have passion for it. No? When you have that loving motivation in everything that you do in life, when you act out of love, any action that you do will lead you to success or not. Another meaning of siddho bhavati, becomes perfect, and also siddha means attains mighty powers. And you know also, simple, how mothers have got so much powers. They can work for so many hours. What is that motivating force other than love? They even become clairvoyant. They know exactly what's going on in your mind. That's siddhi. Whenever you are in pain or suffering, how they can heal you? Not by going through some courses of healing. See the powers that love has. Now, in Yoga Shastra, after many, in fact, lifetimes of practicing pranayama, dharana, concentration, you unleash the powers that are latent or potential in our minds. And many powers are there in our mind, even for understanding subtler things, or for performance, or of getting ideas, innovations. These are all that is required today in our day-to-day work field also, is it not? Everybody doesn't have that creativity, innovation. These are called as siddhis. And in the Yoga Shastra, the Ashta Siddhis, which we see here also Hanumanji having, and Lakshmiji, Sitaji giving, Ashta Siddhi Navanidhi ke Data. Anima, Garima, Mahima, Lagima, Prakamya, Prapti, Vashikritya, Ishitam, Vashitvam. No. 8 Siddhis are pointed out. Becoming small, becoming big, becoming heavy and firm, becoming so light that you can fly. Now all these might be appearing like these fantastic qualities like Hanumanji or Superman, you can fly. But in life you have to learn when to be small. Sukshma Roopadari Siyahi Dikhava. How Hanumanji became small and got out from the situation of Sursa's competition. You have to know how to be small, how to be firm, when to give in, when to stand firm. All this is called as siddhi. Don't just think these magical powers, even though they are available. But as far as bhakta is concerned, these powers come naturally to them. There are so many stories of siddhas. And bhaktas having these siddhis without them knowing. It's like miracles used to happen. And I'm telling you, Gurudev never showed any miracle, but we have seen miracles just happening. Nature itself playing around. And those of us who were there in Siddhbadi with him, we have just seen nature just playing for him. And whenever I tell this and I take youth even now, and I say, you wonder, in the middle of May also, you say there is no snow. But on Gurudev's birthday, snow will come. You watch. Yeah. So they are not that Siddho Bhavati means attain Siddhi. Yes, to Bhaktas Siddhis come, but Bhaktas are not interested in these Siddhis. There was Sant Tukaram, when these Siddhis as a personified came to him, please accept us. Normally say, we don't want these siddhis. In that also ego, I rejected the Ashta Siddhis, like Hanumanji. First have it, then only you can reject it. Don't say, I don't have it, I don't want these siddhis, I don't want this wealth. You can only renounce it when you have it. But in that renunciation also, ego can be there. I gave up this. Then ego can be there. Therefore, when the siddhis came and went disappointed, and saint's heart cannot be disappointed, cannot see them disappointed, so says, what? Come here. So siddhis come back to Tukaramji Maharaj. And he says, you wanted me to ask you of something? No. So I'm asking you such that now that you go from here, don't come back. They are not interested in these siddhis. But can there be a greater siddha than Prahlad? Poisoned in the company of snakes, thrown from mountains. And yet nothing happens to him. So there are many such stories of devotees. Sant Gyaneshwar was a yogi. Sant Namdev was a devotee. Sant Gyaneshwar also was a devotee, but he was a yogi. Once they were walking together, they were good friends. They were walking together and it was dry and they came across a well, the water was very low. Sant Gyaneshwar said that had the capacity to become, he had all anima garima, so he became small and flew into the well to have the water. Namdev knew only tears to offer to the Lord and the water rose to come up. But here this Siddho Bhavati, this is not that type of Siddhi. For devotee, attainment of love in the heart for the Lord itself is Siddhi. Becomes perfect in every way because love makes everything perfect. But there's another beautiful meaning of this Siddha that Sri Ramakrishna Paramhamsa has given. That Siddha, now even in all our language, when rice is so hard, it is very kathor, it is very hard. But when you cook it, not when it becomes khichdi or pongal, but when the rice is just perfect, when you say, but it has its form, but it is soft. Then you say, chawal siddh ho gaya. There's this expression, it is perfect. Now, for example, if you're having a risotto, it can't be smushy. It has to be. That's called as siddha, perfect. In short, it means that the devotee becomes komal, becomes soft. And that's why Tulsidas ji says, Sant Hridaya Navaneet Samana, Kaha Kabin Par Kaha Na Jana, Nij Dukkadaha Dravai Navaneeta, Par Dukha Dravai Sant Supunita. The heart of the devotee becomes so soft, so compassionate, like the Lord's heart only. Jahi Deena Par Neha, Tulsidas ji says, Perfect timing. Jahi deen parne. No? This is called as Siddho Bhavati. Amrito Bhavati. Becomes one with the Lord, that I've already explained to you. Yeah? And Amrito Bhavati actually means also becomes sweet. Because his Lord is Adharam Madharam, and he also becomes sweet. And Tripto Bhavati. See, in all finite objects, there's never satisfaction. You get tea, you will say, I want biscuit also with it. Is it not? I told you, in Siddhbari we got nothing. Here you get everything. Then you say, what if there's a 4-course meal also? Yeah. We never get satisfied with whatever we get. But in this supreme, infinite love for the Supreme, there is that unique satisfaction. Yeah. That's a unique satisfaction in that Supreme. And that satisfaction is not that, when you get an object, you get satisfied, then it is over. That's why I said Amrito Bhavati. It is eternal. And that satisfaction is a very unique satisfaction, which you will understand as we go further. And Naraji gives examples of what is this satisfaction, unending satisfaction. Tripto Bhavati. Once we get satisfaction from something, we actually drop it. But in this satisfaction, there is no satisfaction. Hurry? In this constant love, there is no end. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.